Hello. Hello. So the title of this talk, or anything, it would be, I can't save anyone. I can't really help anyone. And yesterday I mentioned my friend Tyler. I'll mention him again today. It's the only way to get him to listen. And there I go again, trying to make a difference. So listen, the step one in the recovery process is that, I was powerless over whatever my drug of choice was, whether it's food or sex or gambling or drugs or alcohol. I was powerless, and that was my go-to for many years, and I couldn't seem to stop going to it, and so that was a fact. But the second half of step one is the toughest one to get, and that's that my life was unmanageable. And if I go deep into that, if I drill into that, if I really look at that, what does that mean? Well, it means that I can't manage life, and that, I have to turn my will and my life over to a higher power, or I'm screwed. And because I can't manage life, and it also follows suit that I can't really help anybody to recover from that state, a seemingly hopeless state of mind, body, beyond human aid. And Tyler was telling me the other day that somebody in his life had said that they had a very high success ratio. And I think that the whole recovery industry has, they're running around saying, "Oh, we've helped more alcoholics, or we've helped," and it's beyond us. It really is. I can no more bring an alcoholic to a relationship with their higher power than I can when I put seeds in this garden in a couple of weeks. Then I can make them grow. I can't make them grow. I can prepare the soil, I can water consistently, but I can't make them grow. They grow on their own. So it's the same, the ratio of successes is not so great, and often it's not so great because I don't know why. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I can't figure out why. Why me? Why did I get to from where I'd come from? When I came into recovery, I was a kid. I was only 25, and hadn't gone to high school. Had been in and out of lots of little jail cells and shit like that. I was a mess. I had no real idea of how to live life. I talked to you yesterday about the angry adolescent. I was truly the angry adolescent. I had a chip on my shoulder so big. They said they used to be able to see me coming 2 blocks away, and so how did that happen? That, this life, this love, melted that. I think there is magic in prayer. I think that, I probably would have more success, if success is really the right word, in working with others if all I did was pray for them. Really, because when we're caught in the maze, of chaos, of right and wrong, and good and bad, and fear, anger, it's hard to see out. Somebody can be screaming and waving their hands, "We're over here," and you can't hear. You can't hear. We really have to get to that quiet place of surrender to see out of this maze of the addict, and I'm reminded today we have a memorial service for a friend of mine, for Simpson today, and and Simpson died a year ago, and the chaos that his mind was in, and he couldn't see out of, was amazing. I mean, not amazing in a like a wonderful way, but an amazing in a, oh my God, in a sad way, and nothing that many of us tried could help him to get out of that chaos. And sometimes we call it mental illness. I mean, because we call alcoholism and addiction mental illness, but there is a way out, and it's not necessarily by taking prescribed drugs or by therapy. Often for us, therapy doesn't work, you know, unless there's surrender. You know, and all of these things have a tendency to work to a certain degree if there's total surrender. If we literally say, I can't. You know, I have a friend that wants me to be his sponsor right now, and there's very little surrender there. You know, it's like, oh, what do I do with him? How can I possibly be of any service if he's still running the show? You know, so I can't. I just have to watch, you know, and shine the light, hope, pray. Anyway, seems a bit like, oh my God, is it really that bad, David? Well, work with addicts and alcoholics for a while. Get to know them. You know, maybe you've got one in your family. And normally in our families, if we have an addict or an alcoholic somewhere, we've ostracized him. You know, we've said, keep him away. Don't invite him to any social gatherings because we don't know what to do with him. You know, and they seem so often, they're very intelligent and they're personable often, but we don't know what to do with them. You know, I had a fellow living here a year or so ago, Trevor, and you know, and Trevor's parents had got to a place where they, you know, that he was certainly not welcome in their home, and they would come and see him, but the contact was very limited, and because, you know, in a way Trevor was almost dangerous, you know, and so hard to know what to do with that person. Hi, Giselle. Yes, Amanda says we all have the ability to walk ourselves, and that's true, deep down, but not from the ego. You know, when the ego's running the show, for some of you, it seems to work. But for the addict and the alcoholic, we get very desperate. It's very, we somehow, you know, we're looking for that spiritual connection, and we look for it in the high that we get from drugs and alcohol and whatever it is that our drug of choice is. So yes, we all have the ability. It's in us. It's innate within us. We are all one with that source, power, God, universal intelligence, universe. I love the other day I was listening to somebody, and they talked about the word universe. Uni was one verse. Universe is one. Multiverse would be many. And so it's the one, not the many, that we're looking to connect with, and sometimes it's confusing to get there. That's why often new belief systems don't work. We think, you know, for some it works, but for us, the alcoholic and the addict, a new belief system doesn't work. And that's the beautiful thing about the 12 steps is it's not a belief system. It's just a path. It's a path out of hell, really, for many of us. And there's many spiritual teachings, though, that are not connected with a religion, that have a belief to them. They're more about looking deep within. And one of those that I really like is the Tao-Te-Ching, and that's what I'm reading today. And hell, I don't know, something might come out of this for somebody that they go, oh my gosh, that's so powerful. And the depth of this. There's 81 chapters, and most of the chapters are 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs. They're very, very short, or even 1 paragraph. They're just, you know, so it's not a wordy book. And this is a interpretation by Stephen Mitchell, and I hope Stephen's okay with me reading this online. So I'm at chapter 9. And if, you know, you're searching for that inner wisdom, that inner awakening, you know, we need to really have quiet time. Be quiet. Be quiet. Let it cook inside of you. And sit still. Breathe. Yes. Okay, chapter 9. It says, fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, it says. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. Isn't that the beautiful thing? Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. I mean, isn't that what we're looking for? Peace. Yes, we're looking for that serenity. Yes. And I think of, again, with the garden I'm about to put in here, you know, I plant the seeds. I don't dig them up every day to see how they're doing. You know, I put them in and prepare the soil. I'm having fun with that. You know, I mean, the joy in just doing it for me is amazing. So I turn the soil and I'm adding a few things to it, you know. I plant the seeds and then I leave them. I add water. And, you know, their growth, their awakening is not up to me. It's the same with working with whoever I get the gift to work with. It's not up to me. The book, Kate, is the Tao-Te-Ching. It was written, they say, by a man, I'm saying maybe 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. I don't know how long ago, called lao-tzu. And lao-tzu is, they say, is in that language, lao-tzu means old man. In the beginning of this book, it says about lao-tzu, its author, there's particularly nothing to be said. He may have been an older contemporary of Confucius in around 500 BCE. Just a second. He may have been an older contemporary of Confucius. And may have held the position of an archive keeper in one of the petty kingdoms of the time. But all the information that came down to us is highly suspect. Even the meaning of his name is uncertain. The most likely interpretation, the old master, or more picturesquely, the old boy. Like an Iroquois woodsman, he left no traces. All he left us is his book, the classic manual on the art of living, written in style of gem-like lucidity, radiant with humor and grace, and large-heartedness and deep wisdom. One of the wonders of the world is this book. So chapter 9. Now, what the author, Stephen Mitchell, did is he wrote a little information on each chapter, and you know, something to his interpretation, if you will, of the chapter. And all he wrote on chapter 9 was, do your work, then step back. When you do your work wholeheartedly, you are glad to let it go, just as a parent lets a child go into his own life, into its own life. Isn't that beautiful? Just as a parent lets a child go into its own life. Wow, that's a good piece for many mums who are still looking after their adult alcoholic sons and daughters. Let them go. Let them go. All right, so that's my little chat for today. I hope that's helpful. I don't know. Just, you know, shine the light of love for your addict and your alcoholic. If you're in recovery and you're working with others, you know, we can only do what we can do, and just love them. Pray for them. I think prayer is really helpful. I really do. I think my recovery, you know, as a young man, and was so much inspired by my mother's prayers. Not, you know, I think that she did pray a lot. We used to call her a prayer warrior, and way back before we had any understanding of the power of that. Anyway, love you guys, really do, And I'm on YouTube. If you want to hear, like this is now we're on chapter 9, so we've done a little bit of a reading on each one of these chapters, which I have told you are only sometimes a paragraph or 2 paragraphs long. So if you want to hear the other 8 of those, just go to YouTube and my channel, which is Project Awakening, David McElwain. I think you can find it under both of those things in YouTube. Thank you, Kate. Love you. So that's it, you guys. Yeah, go to YouTube, subscribe, and listen to some of the other. I mean, it's just beautiful how the interpretation and get a copy of this book. It's like it for every seeker, if you will, or spiritual student. I think I fancy myself a bit of a spiritual student. You know, student of life. I think this is you know, could be the only book on the shelf. Okay, love you lots. Thank you.